Hello Internet, we have a 4090 today that came in for repair. For some unknown to me reasons, it does not power on. What's interesting is, once we plug in the power connector in the PCI Express riser, and then if we were to switch the power on, nothing happens. It's just doing 0.25 of an amp, and that's very sketchy. A lot of times that comes from the lack of core on the board, but judging from the look of it, it seems like the core is there, and the board seems to be uniform color, not very dark, no darker than it normally is. So I have no reason to think that there is no core, but who knows? The one thing that's not there is the I/O, and unfortunately the only I/O that I have that kind of fits only fits when the whole thing is assembled, so I'm gonna have to leave this off and assemble it as the last piece. Alright, let's take this thing apart, see what's going on. Makes me wonder what's missing. The screw here is missing, so that's good. That means that somebody already been here. I see some kind of lubricant on the hook of the 12 volt high power connector. I guess they thought that if they lube that, things will go smoother. Not sure if they put any lube inside. The screw that went into here wasn't the screw that was supposed to be there. It was supposed to be a spring-loaded screw, but they ended up using one of the I/O screws to put in here, so I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. And the back plate is off, and it wasn't supposed to come off until the screw that goes in here and in here gets removed from the other side of the board. Something behind here, no? Oh no, it's just a hole. Alright, so we're good. Right, let's continue on taking this thing apart. Hopefully there's core. I do not know. Somebody had definitely been in here before. We're missing the sticker on the factory. The factory seal is missing, but it does not look like it's one of them baked boards. So I'm about 99% positive that the core is there, but who knows? Maybe these scammers got really careful with the temperature so that it does not look like it's baked. Who knows? Alright, so it looks like the core is there. The pads are a mess. Looks like all is original. The seemingly looking factory-like compound on the corner, though I've seen fake compounds on the corner before, so I don't know. What is it that does not work on this board? I don't know. Let's set this thing up on the stage or the standoff pins. These are just the regular motherboard standoff pins that you can buy anywhere for a few bucks. A whole set. The more the better. I got about 3 sets and I still don't have enough pins, especially when it comes to laptops. Those are tricky to get pinned. Alright, so let's plug this thing in, or power it on rather, and see what is it that we're missing. And we're gonna be looking at the multimeter, so let me go ahead and activate that. There's the multimeter view for you. This is super cheap, a budget version of the multimeter view. I do not have any kind of fancy software running in the background, so I have no idea how to do that. Alright, this one's gonna go here, and we're gonna start poking around. We're gonna start with memory probably, see if we have any kind of short circuit or anything. No, we're reading like 80 and 90, so we're good. What's in here? Looks good. What about here? Looks good. 12 volt is not shorted. That's probably PEX. Yeah, PEX looks good. So that's another 12, and that's a 5, I believe, and the 5 volt is short. Okay, why is that? I don't know. Let's inject some juice into that 5 volt coil and see what it does. Alright, here it is. Something is warming up in here. Let's take a closer look with the macro lens. I'm guessing a capacitor or something. I think I already see a capacitor that's slightly brown in this area here. And if we inject the voltage, oh, that's not the one. So there's something else in here. It's this capacitor. Alright, so let's do what the Sorin does to fix this graphics card, is simply remove that capacitor, because no capacitor, no problem, remember? Except that we're not going to break it off, we're just going to solder it out. Let's give it a little bit of hot air assistant to make that soldering off easier, because the capacitor is grounded on one end, and having 500 degrees on the soldering iron is not good for the board. So there we go, easily removed. I don't understand why nobody wants to assist with hot air. Everybody just cranking up their soldering iron to 500 degrees and or when they're replacing driver MOSFET, just throw it 500 degrees on the hot air station and with all the power of hell remove that driver MOSFET. Who cares what happens to the board? As long as it works, we're happy. That's what other people think, so I don't play that game. I want to do it right, and who cares? Okay, let's see if the resistance went away, if the short went away, and the short went away, so we're good. What happens when we flip the switch? We are starting to pull 1.8 amps. Let's check and see if we have PEX. I'm not seeing PEX, maybe just some bad contact. Yeah, there's no PEX, but we do have memory. Okay, so we have no PEX. Why is that? Good question. So something probably shorted on the PEX line, who knows, and then took down that capacitor. Hard to say. Yeah, because we got everything. Something is still warming up in here. This guy here, I don't know what it is. Hopefully it's not damaged or anything. Okay, where are we? Right there. So this chip is warming up. I don't know what this chip is, but we don't care. We're gonna look into what's going on with PEX. Why is it not working? Switching over to the microscope, and we found another capacitor that's bad. This one is cracked. Holy cow. What did you do, brother? Play football with it? Okay, let's go and get rid of that capacitor. This thing is just breaking off. There. What a mess. Wow. Alright, so is that it? Just a couple of bad caps and that's it? Could that be it? That would be very interesting if this is all I had to do. Just to remove a couple of caps and the whole thing wakes up. Including PEX this time. Okay, let's see what happens when we check the voltage for PEX. Still no PEX. Alright, why not? What is on voltage in? We have no voltage in for PEX. You see here? We're supposed to be getting it here or on the other end. So there's nothing here and then there's nothing here. Which one is ground? Why am I not getting ground? Wait, what? I have no ground. Interesting. Wait, do I have PEX? Okay, let's try one more time. My multimeter is hallucinating. Okay, so flip the switch. No PEX. And the PEX is reading 12 ohms. And 12 ohms is a little too short. But we're a little bit warm, so this is ground. Wait, I'm reading short on both ends of this capacitor. That is not good. 5 volts not shorted. 1.2, 1.8. The PEX is reading a little bit low, but we're reading short on both ends of the capacitor. Very interesting. I do not know which end of this capacitor is actually voltage in, but we're gonna find out. And the way we find this out is as easy as injecting voltage into this end. See what happens. Okay, let's remove the cap. Ooh, I think we got another shorted cap. Look at that. See this guy? Yeah. So I think we narrowed down the voltage in side. So the voltage in is probably coming off of the side on the right. And it looks like that cap shorting 12 volt into the ground. Let's remove that cap. 3 shorted caps. Now if I'm not mistaken, after watching enough of Northridge Fix videos, Asus likes to have a lot of shorted caps on laptops. And so I'm not all too surprised to see the exact same issue happening with the graphics cards. So we're going to leave the other ones alone. They're not important. Alright, let's see if we're still reading a short. And the short is gone. Right there. See? Nothing. We shorted on one end, but not on the other. Alright, so does that mean that the PEX is not working? And there's still no PEX. The PEX is still not working, which means something else is still wrong. Let's flip the switch and look at the GPU with a thermal camera. Do we have 5 volt coming off of this guy? Yes. 1.8, 1.2. The memory, MSVDD, or the NVVDD. We don't have MSVDD on the 4090 series. But still no PEX. So the PEX is dead. Why is the PEX dead? Let's have a look under a microscope and see if we can figure out what's wrong. So we do have voltage in. No, we do not. So we have no voltage in. Basically, there's nothing coming in. Where would it be coming from? I have no idea. It could be come from this resistor here. Nope, nothing there. It could also be coming from probably a fuse, somewhere, like one of these, maybe. What is this? That was a 5-volt filtering capacitor, so that's not it. So the 12-volt comes from somewhere. We need to find out where. There's got to be a fuse somewhere on the board. I think there's one on the back, if I'm not mistaken. Let's flip the board over and have a look on the back. There's got to be a fuse. And fuse is right here. Let's check and see if this fuse is blown. And the fuse is blown. Perfect. That's good news. We can replace the fuse. Actually, let me see if we have any kind of voltage coming in. And obviously nothing's going to come out. So we're going to have voltage coming in from here. I believe, yes. But nothing coming out. See, like 0.2, 0.1 volt, whatever. So, yes, we need to replace the fuse and everything should work. Now, I do not have a 3 amp fuse, but I do have 4. So I'm going to put 4 amp fuse in here. And given the fact that that fuse came from China, those 4 amps are probably 20 American amps. So, the more amps, the better. Alright, there we go. Let's bring in a 4 amp fuse and get it soldered on with a little bit of black horse repair flux. There we go. Beautiful. Better than factory. You see the S? This means this repair was done by the Superman. It was done by a GPU repair specialist. That's what the S stands for. Now I am no expert, but I am a specialist. So let's see if that will finally give us specs. There we go. We have specs, and GPU should now detect heatsink, HDMI cable, and here goes nothing. Everything's looking good on the thermal camera, and I think the GPU it's posting. There we have it. So we can get rid of the multimeter now. Turn that thing off. Put everything back together properly this time. We're going to start with the back plate, and then we'll continue on with the heatsink and the I/O. I'm going to have to put in a few screws, and the customer is going to be paying for the screws because I'm running low on screws. Screws are not free. You cannot, especially the ones that go for the GPUs, are not easily found. I mean, you can find it, but sometimes I get a customer who will send me a GPU with no screws at all, and so I have to empty almost half of my inventory just to do one GPU. Like RTX 8000 Quadro, bunch of screws around the perimeter, no back plate, just a lot of screws. Some cards have more, some cards have less, but I'm not exactly a screw factory here, and screws that I have are very limited amount. So hopefully this was educating or maybe entertaining. Appreciate you taking your time watching my videos, learning the repairs, or just enjoying the show. Hope to see you back. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed day. Goodbye.